This is a podcast about both having autism and living with someone who has autism. My mom is Sonya, and I'm Josh, and this is Josh Has Autism.
Hey everybody, welcome to Josh Has Autism. It is just me today. Josh is not going to be with us, but that's okay. I just want to talk to you about stuff that I wouldn't talk about if he was sitting here, probably. Maybe I would, but probably not. So, I hope you're having a good day, and I so appreciate you hanging out with me. You know what? Somebody recently asked me what it was like raising a child with autism. And I said, well, I know what it's been like raising one child with autism, because everyone's different. And so that's all that I can speak to. You know, I know how other people do it. I've read about how other people do it. I've heard other people speak on it. And, you know, what makes it different, not only for each of us, what makes it different is not only because the child is an individual, but because the parents are individuals. And I think sometimes that gets lost in all the conversations that happen about, you know, how to raise a child with autism, how to do it, what's necessary, how to, you know, be successful. You know, before we ever had kids, we were people. You know, like before I was a mom, I was a wife, and before I was a wife, I was, you know, a woman just working and going to college and trying to make a life for myself. You know, and I think that gets lost a lot of times, because what happens when you get a diagnosis, it's shocking. I think, you know, for all the people that I've talked to, but again, I can only speak about what it was like for me. So here we go. So in the very beginning, the diagnosis was was dealt with rigid beliefs within the medical community that I had available to me at the time, and I think probably to their best ability what they knew at the time. Because again, we've said this before on the podcast, you know, Josh just turned 30. So we've been at this for a long time. And back when he was diagnosed, there, you know, was not the information readily available as it is today. And I'm so grateful that the information is available today. But the thing that I remember the doctor saying to me is that Josh needed structure. And so the doctor said structure, and I said, oh, crap. Because before he was born, I was like a fly by the seat of my pants kind of lady, you know, where it's very much in the moment. And I get done what I get done when I think of it. And, you know, I would plan out my day. I would try to be organized, but that was very difficult for me. And so to have to be all of a sudden be structured because my son needed me to be structured was just, you might as well have been speaking a foreign language. So I think that all the information that comes out to us about how to help our kids the most, I think what's missing is, okay, I'll help him. First of all, help me. Help me to know how to be structured, how to be organized, how to be, you know, a person that plans the events so that I can make sure that he's got what he needs. Because that concept was so foreign to me. Because that's just not who I am. And I'm better at it now. I've learned to be better at it, because you have a kid that has a meltdown, you know, every day, multiple times a day. You learn how to get structured real quick, because he needs for me to put things in place that help him to have that consistency. and that's routine and that structure, and that does help him the most. It was a struggle getting there, though. And I never got any information from doctors on how to do that. Everything that I've learned, I learned from what I was doing wrong. And I know some people will probably say, because I get messages all the time, I'm not saying that, I should have known better then, because I just was doing the best that I could. But looking back now, I see how many mistakes I made. I see how, things could have been done differently, but, I didn't know that at the time. So I did what I could do. And raising Josh has at times it's felt very isolating and just kind of like a roller coaster. Like it can be it can be a very pleasant experience. It could be where you go on this ride that you want to go on because it's exhilarating, and at the same time it's daunting, because what it means essentially is that I've had to. So, Josh has been successful the most when I've been involved in learning to anticipate his needs. So in order to keep those meltdowns to a minimum. And I still get it wrong daily. So there's some behaviors that just knowing Josh the way that I do, I can look at him and I can see the look in his eyes. And I can see that when it happens, and it can just happen in an instant, I know that it means he needs to be out of a situation he's in. I know that the conversation needs to stop. I know that the noise level that's around us, he needs to be removed from that. All of these things that I've learned to read in him in order to help him to be okay. So essentially everything that I learned basically was to just keep him from having a meltdown. And then, and me from having a meltdown. Because anybody that has a kid that's very different from them, when you're experiencing those differences right in front of you in a very loud way, whether autism is involved or not, just having a kid that's different from you is an experience that is so enlightening. If you get to a point where it can be enlightening, because first it could just be frustrating and exhausting and painful, but it can also be so rewarding, because this cool thing that happened with me raising Josh is that I'm a better person because of it. I am a better human being. I'm a better mom, a better wife, a better person. He's brought me from, I guess self-centered, because I guess it goes along with being very unstructured and disorganized, where it was all on my time, and my schedule, what I needed to do, which that's the way it is for a lot of people before you have kids. But what I'm saying is that structure was not in my vocabulary. That just wasn't who I was. So part of that process was, in raising Josh, was me learning how to be mindful, and me learning from watching him how to be in the moment, to be observant, to see what's going on around. Initially started out me observing what's going on around Josh, because it really became like this kind of game of anticipation. Okay, what is it like a detective, right? Scanning and taking in information that I may have to adjust and intervene on his behalf. Whole bunch of things that were foreign to me. Whole bunch of things that I would never do if I didn't have Josh. And I've read information about raising kids with autism. Like I said, I've heard people talk about it. And it's just the thing that I don't hear people really saying is that, the truth is that there has been times that it's been so difficult that I thought, if I had an opportunity for a do-over, like if nobody would get hurt in the process, but if I just had a do-over and I didn't have Josh, would I choose that? It's kind of even hard to say out loud because it's those kind of things that I've held in for a long time because, I had those thoughts and I'm like, who thinks that? Who says that about their own kids, Well, apparently I do. Apparently me. Because at times, it was so hard. I could see other people as their kids grew and they had the things that just came with getting another year older. And I saw it in his sister. I saw it with other kids at school, that how the progress went. And it seemed easy for other kids. And I know what I'm saying. Like, how do I know if it was easy or it wasn't easy? I know that. I know. That's like a huge assumption on my part. It just seemed like the steps that make sense, and they seemed easy. Like, I guess I'm talking about like the being on a soccer team, or getting friends in school, and then maybe being a Boy Scout and having that be successful and in that progress that just, that comes with it. And none of that happened. It did happen. So there was Boy Scouts, but that was like a couple months. But it was what it felt like, and I don't have anything else to compare this to except for his sister Bug. And it's not a fair comparison. He's a boy, she's a girl, there's different personalities, he's my first child, she's my second child. The thing that's same there is that, I'm their mom. So, that does have an impact on people, whether they're autistic or they're not, is what their moms do, how effective are their moms, how crazy are their moms. So, but what I know is that when I watched Bug grow up, there was a progression that I saw with other kids too. And then I was very aware that I was having to make all kinds of adaptations, like maybe there would be none for Bug, and I would have to do like 5, 6, 7, 8 for Josh. And it was exhausting. I went to bed a lot of times crying because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. It just felt very hard and overwhelming. And yet, he's such a cool kid. And that was another frustrating part of it, is that other people didn't see that in him. Because there was a period of time, where everything was a struggle. I had to, quit my job because I was getting so many calls from the school constantly, whoever it was, and taken to doctors and psychiatrists and therapists, and always having to be very present and visible at the school, so, because it did make a difference. My presence there at the school made a difference. But there were times that were very, very difficult, and no matter what I did, it didn't work. It felt like all my life was, like I say, doctors and therapists and wraparound support people and anything and everything. It was all about Josh. And yeah, so there were those times when I would just, I guess my mind would wander, and I would just would have the thought, if nobody got hurt, like at all, nobody was hurt in this little mind game. What if I had a do-over? And I could not have to step up to the plate from the time I woke up to the time I went to bed every single day, to fight and demand and make demands and of the world around me on his behalf, and then just the struggle that happened in the daily activities of dealing with Josh. This is the first time I think that I'm ever saying that out loud. So there. Yeah. That's what it's been like. And ultimately, the benefit of having Josh has far outweighed any of those struggles that I just described. Any of the heartbreak and the daunting lessons that I had to learn. And it's just really it's a very difficult answer when somebody says, "Well, what's it like?" There are times when I can be, where I can answer the question very politely and probably correctly, and so. And then there are times when the question is, "What's it like raising a kid with autism?" I just am likely to say, "What's it like living as a moron?" Because I don't have the patience or the tolerance. Because the fact is that, I used to be a hothead, not so much anymore. Thank goodness. But yeah, I've never just been one to listen to somebody tell me how it's going to be, or tolerate rudeness or ignorance, or, just somebody else's judgment on me or my family. And so, yeah, there's been times that my response has not been very friendly, probably. But, that's... I'm wondering if I'm even making any sense to anybody. Because if you're listening to this, you've heard Josh. You know what a wonderful person he is. And, here's the truth. I take some credit for that. I do. Because I've been with him every day of his life. On those good days and those horrible days, and we got through them together. And, I do take credit for his success. To the extent that I can. I mean, I don't take credit for his intelligence, because his dad is the smartest person I've ever met in my life. We're not talking common sense. Well, no, okay. I got the common sense. Josh and his dad, they have the amazing genius type qualities, which I don't have that. But Josh has grown into being a wonderful kid and adult. I remember when I was a kid, I was a tomboy, and I wore out a big wheel, blew the wheels out on a big wheel, and I remember reading Mad magazine. I thought that was hysterical. Some of the other things, remember that stupid thing a long time ago that was what's grosser than gross? I just thought about that. I remember that, what's grosser than gross. So I guess because that was my stupid childhood, my mentality, I just thought that's what my kids would be, and it wasn't, and that was kind of surprising to me. And so I just had to learn how to connect, how to do things different, and so fortunately, Josh has learned a sense of humor, and I really dig that. I think it's awesome. He just joked the other day. He says that our house is where plants come to die. And that's funny because it's true. Because I have never met a plant that I didn't find a way to kill. I killed an air fern. Just so that's clear to everybody, I killed an air fern. You know what they need to live? They need air. And no, I apparently did not give it enough, or I over-aired it. I don't know what I did, but I killed this air fern. So anyway, the fact that he's able to make a joke about that, I think is stinking awesome. Because it's funny, because it's true. I want to give you some, for moms and dads, of people, of kids, whether they're kids or they're adults of autism, that you're still caring for. Not that you stop caring for them, I should say that you're still a caregiver for. But that's a better way to put it. So my advice to you is this. You have to do things that fill you up. You have to. You have to do things that make you happy. And you have to do things that are just for you. My thing was stand-up comedy. That was just for me. Whenever I did that, that was my escape. That was my opportunity to do that thing that filled me up in a way that was just for me. And it made all the difference in the world. I really don't think that I would be as balanced as I am now, or our family would be as balanced as we are, which, okay, those of you that know us, pipe down. I know. But as balanced as we are, I think that the stand-up helped because it gave me an outlet. I got to leave the house and go share all the nonsense that was rolling around in my head. You know, and it was such a release for me. Yeah, we all know, we've talked about this before. Yes, I've been to therapy lots of times. But stand-up was a version of therapy for me that I think helped me more than anything else in my life. Because when I'm talking about the difficulty of, man, I don't know. Maybe some of you out there are just like, oh yeah, being a parent's a piece of cake. You know, I made so many mistakes, and learned as I went, and still doing that. I'm still learning as I go. But it was hard, and I had this thing that was mine, that was for me, and I would get dressed. I would write my material, and I would get dressed, and I would put makeup on and head out, and I would hit the stage, sometimes for 20 people, 30 people, sometimes for 2,500 people, and that was my thing. It's been my thing. What saves me to this day. It's what saves me. And I guess what I'm saying is that whatever you do as a parent, it's easy to get lost in taking care of your kids. And if you have a child with special needs of any kind, I think you tend to lose yourself even more. And I guess I'm just recommending that you just work so hard to find yourself. Don't lose yourself in just taking care of somebody else. Find that thing that fills you up. If you're married, make sure you go on dates. Make sure you do that. Make sure that you two have time together. Josh's dad and I, we've been married 31 years now. And, but it's not always been a piece of cake, but it has always been worthwhile. And the way that we've kept our togetherness is to go out on dates, to get away from the kids when we could. It was tough when Josh was little because nobody would watch him. But, we did it anyway. We did it anyway and just found a way. Even if it's having a date at home, after the kids go to bed. You got to just make that time for each other. But for you as an individual, remember that before you ever had your child or your kids, before you ever had them, you were an individual. And you matter. It matters that you are whole. So find that thing that fills you up, not that thing that you're doing research for your child. That everything all the time is about your child. Find that thing for you. Mine was going out in front of people and being stupid, and that's what did it. That maybe that's for you. Maybe try it. It's fun. But if it's not, find that thing. Just get away from the house. Go do that thing that fills you up. Because the best thing that you can do for your family, for your children, is to be fulfilled and to be happy. And, that's the way to find your way back to happiness. If you're not having it, if you don't know where it is right now, if you've lost it, that's how you find it. By going and doing that thing for you. When it comes to that, forget about anybody else's opinion. Don't listen to anybody else. Do that thing that fills you up. That thing that makes you happy. Mm-hmm. That's my suggestion. Yeah. I'm here without Josh right now, but my little dog, he's a little Bichon. His name is Einstein, and he's sitting on my lap right now. And now he's all of a sudden perking up and being very demanding. So if you hear squeaks, it's him, because he's very opinionated. But I think that's it. I think Einstein's getting squirrely, and I think that's all that I really wanted to share with you today. I really appreciate hanging out with me. I know you tune in a lot of times. Josh is this is Josh has autism, so doing it without Josh is something that I didn't know how it was going to go. So we'll see how it goes. If anything that I've said today has reached you as an individual, as a parent, then that's all that matters to me. Because this is all, seems like it's always about the ones with autism, and the ones that, that have those kids in our lives, we need to get to support as well. So, just take care of yourself. Do these things for yourself. And I think you're going to be happier. You're going to be healthier. And let me know if you need some stage time. I'll take you with me. It'll be fun. But if not, go find your thing. Just do it. All right. Thanks so much. I think Josh will be back here next week with us. And I just appreciate you so much. I've asked you before, if you like what we're doing, go to iTunes, give us a 5-star review if you would, and please keep sending your messages to me. I really, and to Josh, we value them so much, and it helps us to know that what we're doing is making a difference, and that is truly what matters to us. So, at any rate, I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon. Love ya.